first stabilizer on the market that actually allows you to shoot your hunting rig the way that target archers are set up to shoot, by moving weight out away from your bow. Target archers shoot long stabilizers for one reason, is because they can create leverage with their bows by extending and having that stabilizer out to a certain distance. What that does is it slows the movement onto the target, but more importantly for target archers, it slows the movement off the target. And for hunters, that's what we're looking for. We're trying to get that pin to slow down as much as possible. You're never going to get it to stop. But if you can minimize that movement downrange with a stabilizer, it's doing the same thing inside your sight picture, whether it's a pin, a hoop, or whatever it is that you shoot, slider sights, whatever, it's doing the same thing because it's not bouncing around, it's not moving. So that's the whole key, is getting on target. And for hunters, this is the first system that's allowed you to, like I said earlier, shoot your hunting stabilizer like a target setup. But what's nice is you can take our bar, it's a 1233, goes from 12 inches and fully telescopes out to 33 inches with infinite adjustment along any of those lengths, and fine tune your bow to your shooting style.
You know what, we all do. There's not a human out there that can shoot a bow as efficiently as they're made today. And at the end of the day, that's what back bars allow you to do, is customize how you want to set up for you.
Welcome to the R&A Outdoors podcast, fueled by Ripcord Arrow Rest and First Light Hunting Apparel. At R&A, we are public land DIY conservationists that love to share our passion for the outdoors. So join us and our team as we interview professionals in the industry to share insight knowledge that helps make hunters and anglers more successful. Hey listeners, subscribers, and fellow outdoorsmen and women. This is your host, Lucas Paw, and I'm excited to tell you about some of the sponsors that continue to help make this podcast not only happen, but grow and thrive in this digital world of audio content. This podcast is brought to you by Ripcord Arrow Rest, the bow hunter's #1 fall-away rest on the market. Ripcord is known for 100% full-time arrow containment in their patented drop-dead brake system that eliminates launcher bounce back. Best of all, Ripcord is backed by their rock-solid guarantee. If the original owner has a part break for any reason, it will be repaired or replaced at no charge. And did I mention, Ripcord is located in southwest Montana, where all their products are made with pride in America. Check them out at ripcordarrowrest.com and on their social media feeds. This podcast is brought to you by First Light Clothing and Hunting Apparel. Born in the Rockies in central Idaho, First Light's mission is to create simple, yet proven, versatile gear that provides comfort and performance in any situation while working to promote the pursuit of ethical hunting and stewardship. I recently joined the First Light Pro Staff team and have continued to be impressed year after year in their innovations in engineering of merino wool fabrics. 10 years ago, they started putting out wool fabrics with camo patterns, and immediately this changed the game. Since then, they offer multiple layering systems and kits in various proprietary patterns and continue to raise the bar with their competition. Find them online at firstlight.com or under their social media feeds. Go farther, stay longer.
Action up.
All right, coming to you from the 10th floor of the Marriott City Center in downtown Salt Lake City. We are here in the hotel during the Hunt Expo 2019 here in Salt Lake. Excited to be here and have had a good time so far. Third day of the show, and actually getting ready for tomorrow, which is a pretty busy day. Got a lot of stuff going on. Jason, you can talk more about that. But without further ado, bring on Mr. NRA himself, Mr. Jason Quick.
He gets those letters all mixed up, guys. I don't know. No drinking involved, and all of a sudden he's got them mixed up.
Yeah, the sidekick, Mr. Jason Quick.
Yeah, I'm always the sidekick. Hey, I appreciate being here, and we're gonna have a great time. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna have a lot of fun. Tomorrow we're gonna do the Full Curl Society. And the Friends of NRA, Utah Friends of NRA, is going to give away 3 guns to our youth. And then the Full Curl Society is going to give away.
We're going to win a sheep hunt. So
going to give 11 sheep hunts away. So Lucas and I have already decided that he deserves one and I deserve one. So then we're going to wrap it all up and head home and win some more money in Vegas, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
So
that's
guys, always
the plan.
We have this all mapped out.
Sounds like a vacation.
There you go.
Stay vacation.
Yeah.
With us are 2 buddies from Crossover Stabilizers, telescoping stabilizers himself, Crossover. Mr. Micah Brown, who's been on the podcast before. We talked Ramcat Broadheads. We talked First Light Apparel. Well, Micah, welcome back to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure, and it's awesome to be a part of RNA Outdoors and talk about things that we love and what we're passionate about.
For sure. And last but not least, Mr. Brandon Brodie out of the beautiful Treasure Valley of Boise,
That's
Idaho.
Right.
Welcome, Brandon.
Hey, thank you.
Free America, I heard.
That's right.
It's where everyone should live at some point in their life.
Lifetime hunting license, buddy.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's why.
Absolutely.
One of the few states you can buy a lifetime license.
Yep.
So we're here. Micah and Brandon have been working the Crossover booth and been pretty busy over there. From the times we've been over there, it seems like it's been cracking pretty good. The show's been getting busier each day by day, and it's just fun to be in a room with a bunch of like-minded people that want to talk about hunting and conservation and a lot of other cool things. So it's fun to be here.
Man, the show has been good, guys. What do you think? I mean, today was pretty happening, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was cranking. A little slow at the beginning, but kind of like most of these shows, people do their thing in the morning, get squared away, and get breakfast done, and then start hitting the show. And by noontime, they're hitting it hard. The booths fill up, and people get jazzed and start talking about things we like to talk about: hunting, and conservation, and being outdoors.
Well, I have to say, my first experience, Lucas introduced me to the stabilizer, and really. I've really kind of taken to it. As you saw, I used it when I took my great bull in Nevada this year. And as I kind of told the story before, when I got into the blind, pretty much every day I'd get back where I knew where I was going to shoot in my shooting lane, and I'd draw my bow, and I'm like, nope, I could extend it a little bit longer. And the funny thing is, practicing, normally I never ever hardly extended it, But what I figured out is, when you do get into that long shooting situation, having that availability to extend it out a little further and balance that bow out, man, when you come to full draw, it's so stable, and you really actually can relax a lot easier once you've actually got that extension out further. It's a pretty neat thing.
Yeah, you definitely hit it on the head, Jason. It's the first stabilizer on the market that actually allows you to shoot your hunting rig the way that target archers are set up to shoot. By moving weight out away from your bow, you actually stabilize your bow. So theoretically, anything in the 10 to 11 inch range that's on a bow now doesn't do a whole lot other than maybe help with some vibration dampening. But once you start sliding that out, that value of having that exponentially pushed out slows that pin down, like you're saying, and allows you to shoot out the distance. So,
well, and as a young man, when I was shooting a lot, you'd go to a 3D competition, and of course, I'm out there with my normal, 6.5 inch weight, and all of a sudden, some yahoo that's actually a target archery guy shows up, and he's shooting, and he's got this damn rod that's 10 feet long, and I'm thinking, man, this isn't fair. That guy, for some reason, that guy's shooting much better. And when I finally tried a long stabilizer, I'm like, whoa. But in archery situation, hunting, you're like, you can't drag something like that around. This is the first time that you have that opportunity.
Yeah, it's a whole process when you get into it. It's if people don't understand it, they think, it's another archery product. It's another gimmick out there. It's something else. But it's totally not. The reason being is target archers shoot long stabilizers for one reason, is because they can create leverage with their bows by extending and having that stabilizer out to a certain distance. What that does is it slows the movement onto the target, but more importantly, for target archers, it slows the movement off the target. And for hunters, that's what we're looking for. We're trying to get that pin to slow down as much as possible. You're never going to get it to stop. But if you can minimize that movement downrange with a stabilizer, it's doing the same thing inside your sight picture, whether it's a pin, a hoop, or whatever it is that you shoot, slider sights, whatever. It's doing the same thing because it's not bouncing around, it's not moving. So that's the whole key, is getting on target. And for hunters, this is the first system that's allowed you to, like I said earlier, shoot your hunting stabilizer like a target setup. But what's nice is you can take our bar, it's a 1233, goes from 12 inches and fully telescopes out to 33 inches with infinite adjustment along any of those lengths, and fine tune your bow to your shooting style. So I can take my stabilizer off and hand it to Lucas, and he can set up his bow with it and be like, I like it right here, and then Jason give you the stabilizer and then hand it off to Brandon. Everyone can play with the weights, all use the same stabilizers. If we try to do that with another company, you'd be buying 50 stabilizers for each one of us to match up in different weights. So
Yeah, I mean, with the weights, the stabilizer itself weighs like 7.5 ounces. So it comes standard with 3-ounce weights. You're well under a pound just on the weight of the actual stabilizer. But the material, it's almost like a carbon fiber material that they're making.
Yeah, it's a unidirectional, so it's like torsion carbon fiber. So in the same thickness, it's as strong if not stronger than anything else on the market within the same wall diameter. So it's very solid. One of the tests I like to do to people that say, okay, well, how rigid is it? How durable is it? Well, I'll take all the nodes and lock all the nodes out, and I'll say, okay, do me a favor, close your eyes, and pretend you are a blind person for just a second, and hit this thing on the ground, and let me know if you would think that this was a piece stabilizer with 4 pieces or anything like that, or would it be a solid bar? And they say, that there's no vibration, there's no nothing. So with that being said, once you lock those nodes out, the other beauty behind shooting that stabilizer with vibration dampening, plus you get the telescoping distance, vibration wavelengths travel until they stop. Something's got to stop them, or they'll keep going or sputter out. Well, with this stabilizer, that vibration wavelength has to stop at each one of the nodes, jump into the next bar, travel, stop, jump into the next bar. So it's actually the vibration wavelength is starting and stopping multiple times throughout the length of the whole stabilizer.
So that actually would make it where it doesn't travel, right?
Yep.
It would just slow it down or stop it completely.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
Interrupts it pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think, just a little bit about the company. We've met Rod, who was kind of the inventor of this stabilizer, and his son Amos, and I got to meet them in Albuquerque last year when we were over there scouting for an elk hunt when I was over there last fall. But just a really neat family, a really neat. Obviously, I mean, when you think about it, it's like you look at tripods, and it's almost like the same type of scenario, or almost the same type of setup on a lot of tripods with the knuckle style legs on them. But it's a very similar, essentially setup that they have. But what's crazy about it is that when you set that thing on your bow, unlike any other stabilizers I know that I've shot on the market, it's incredibly remarkable how fast you can get on your target in terms of acquisition and how the pins will sit there. And there's like no floating. A lot of times, guys that teach you the figure 8 model or something, but it's like you can literally set. And for me, I've had to adjust to that because I was always like, kind of typically come higher, drop in. But it's like you can literally set your pins on your target, and it's like the thing doesn't move, and it just sits there.
Yeah, you're right.
When it's stabbed out.
And Brent, working the booth today with Brandon, he made some valuable points that I know about, and it's awesome to see other guys talk about it. Well, when you start anticipating when that pin's going to stop, because you don't want it to stop. When you anticipate when it's going to stop, that leads to bad habits. You're going to start punching the trigger. You'll be off target, left to right, up and down.
You're going to say now.
Yeah, in your brain, you're saying now. So
Punch
your brain's actually sending that sense to your finger probably before you even really think about doing it, and then you get bad habits. Trigger slap and not pulling through your shot and doing things that downrange create problems. But this stabilizer with the ability to slow that pin actually lets you settle into your shot to where you can actually squeeze through the trigger, because it's harder to move off the target. So it takes a little bit of getting used to if you're not used to pushing that weight out there. But the beauty, too, is when you have that weight on there, you're hiking with the same weight you start with, and you just slide it out. You can even back weights off and slide it out, and you get the same result. So for me, I don't like hiking with a lot of weight. I'll put 2 on the front on that 12-inch stabilizer and move it out to about 2 feet. And, you really make it happen by just moving that weight out. You don't need a lot of weight on there. It's not like a traditional.
Those are so balanced now that you really don't need a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Right. And depending on the style of bow you shoot, and obviously, you can get into the back bars where you have, the weights, on the back side of the bow. But typically now you don't need a lot of weight on the front of the bow because they are balanced pretty well.
Yeah.
But looking at their products, so they offer the 821, the 1233 you talked about, and then the 1017. Are they all just different sizes then? Is that what they provide?
Yeah, so each one of those is in different lengths. The 1017 is a 2-piece. It goes from basically 10 inches all the way up to 17 inches. The 821 looks just like the 1033 with the 3 nodes on it. It goes from 8 inches to 21 inches, and then the 1233 is the big dog, goes from 12 inches to 33 inches. And we'll get into the special application that applies to that 1233 down the road here for the listeners, and why that 1233 is so special for guys that hunt out west and get after it. So one thing I want to mention, and I'll have Brandon chime in on this, is he likes shooting a back bar. So I shoot a lot of 3D. I like shooting a back bar for 3D, but I really focus on trying to be as lightweight as possible in the backcountry, so I don't shoot a back bar during hunting season. Brandon has a special case where the reason why he shoots a back bar. So maybe Brandon can kind of touch light on that a little bit.
Yeah, basically, I just want to put my weight exactly where I want it for how I shoot. Specifically where I hold the bow, I tend to have some, not the best shooting efficiencies. I heel my shots sometimes, and I also want to offset from my quiver. So I can throw that weight wherever I want, as far as I want. I tend to set it up. I will, just to set everything up, I'll draw my bow with my eyes closed. And then I'll try to set it up to where that bubble is perfectly level on that bow at full draw. And then, of course, executing the shot just makes it super simple. I have full control and customization with that back bar. Mm-hmm. If you do not have a back bar, you don't have the ability to customize that setup for you specifically, for your left and right, in addition to your forward.
So when Brandon says back bar, he means the offset bar. So he runs a 1233 on the front with our offset bar, and then the 821 off the back. So a lot of guys will run the 821, which you can get, just get a little bit more adjustability at 821, so you can bring it in tighter. But then you can go all the way to 21, where the 1017 will only let you get from 10 to 17. But the 1017 is pretty much the kind of the bread and butter for the back bar.
For the back bar.
But also, kids considering this, we're not just a Western hunting stabilizer system. That 821 and that 1017, kind of like what Jason was talking about earlier, you get in tight quarters. Yeah. Those are money for ground blinds and guys that hunt out of tree stands that don't need that
you don't
extra
need that long stab. Yeah.
Well, and going back to this, I've never really done the back stabilizer or the back bar, but so for anybody that's listening, a standard stabilizer is going off the front. So what they're talking about is that usually hooks up down on the lower half of the bow, and then basically the weight goes out behind. So the weight actually, as you're holding your bow out, the weight actually comes to you to create the balance better for you as a specific shooter. So pretty interesting thing. It'd kind of be fun to try it out.
Well,
I probably have some of those absolutely horrible bad habits too, and
You know what? We all do. There's not a human out there that can shoot a bow as efficiently as they're made today.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what back bars allow you to do, is customize how you want to set up for you.
And that back bar also lets you swing it out left to right, so it can get tighter to your cam, whether you're left or right-handed. It doesn't matter. You just put the bar on either side, or you can swing it out, and that actually gets that tilt into the bow, cants it to either one side. So say you're running a quiver and it's a little heavy and you're having a hard time keeping your bow upright. Well, you can run a back bar with not a lot of weight and kick it out, and it'll actually, it's just kind of cantilevers the other side.
so balances the bow, because bows, we all know, the quiver is something that everybody added to the bow just because it was convenient to hold the arrows. But that doesn't necessarily make it balanced, right? I mean, you got 6 arrows on one side along with everything else. That kind of, when you throw it up, you're going to naturally go to the heavy side of it, so it'll lean. So that's an interesting tidbit to balance out your bow on something like that.
Yeah, so since we're on the discussion, just a recommendation for anybody who wants to throw weight in the back, we always recommend a 2-to-1 ratio. Heavier weight in the back, 1 in front.
Yeah, and start out light. Same thing with running the actual stabilizers. That 1233, they'll come with 3 1-ounce weights. Just start with like 1 ounce on the front of those. Slide that out, and if that's comfortable, back it in a little bit and put 2 ounces on there, and then slide that. That's what's nice about this system, is it, like I said, it's pretty much infinite on which node you can slide out, where you put your weight. Like I said, you can pretty much just customize that bow to your hunting style, and it takes a lot of the human deficiencies out of shooting long range, and makes it easier for people to acquire targets and stay on them.
And that's what I found. I mean, shooting out to longer ranges. I think the first year that I had the crossover on my bow, I think the first animal was my blacktail was 77 yards, and then that bull I shot in Montana was 88 yards, and just incredible the stabilization that those crossover stabilizers provide at distances like that. And of course, when you're shooting an animal is one thing. When you're shooting target archery is a little different. Right. But even on the target archery side, if you're out even shooting 3D and some of the stuff we do, it's just incredible. And it's funny, you stab that thing out and you get a bunch of looks at people wondering what the heck that thing is, and they're looking at it kind of like, hey, what's that? And obviously very interested, because they're just, most of them are shooting just standard 8 to 12 inch stabilizers, fixed stabilizers.
Yeah, it's interesting you said that, because I set up Corey Jacobson over at Elk 101, got him interested in it, and let him shoot it. And after he got back to me, he's like, oh man, everyone loves it, this and that, and I'm shooting 3Ds again, and man, I'm kicking butt in these 3Ds, and everyone's getting mad at me because I'm able to move my stabilizer in and out. These guys, Brandon, Donald Horvath, and a couple of our other friends went out and shot the Desert Challenge. Yeah. And they were able to do the same thing in the wind, and so it kind of irritates people when you have gear like that people don't know about. And this has been on the market for a few years, and it's out there, but it's just one of those things. People look at stuff like this sometimes, and without knowing that it's not if you don't know it's not a gimmick, you don't know. We had guys today in the booth, stepping over the stabilizer, and kids running around. Oh, look at that long stabilizer, thinking it's a target thing. Well, when you really get down to it, yeah, it can be used for target, but the hunting application, I think, is where it really shines. Yeah.
Well,
absolutely.
And I'll chime into this, because at first when I saw it, I thought, even when it's at the compact, I was like, man, that's long, right? And then I started thinking about getting my ass kicked by the target archery guys coming out to the 3D competitions back in the day. And I'm thinking, okay. And then I actually thought, wait a second. I carry my bow over my shoulder pretty much all the time. I've been trying to convince myself to buy one of those stupid sling things and give it a try. But then I'm like, it's going to never fail that something's going to scare me. Right. I'm going to have to try to figure out how to get that stupid sling off, right? So I always carry my bow. Well, when you put that stabilizer over your shoulder, oh my God, I could actually freehand. Mm-hmm. That stabilizer actually balances really nice on my shoulder with the bow. And I know it's kind of a silly thing to think about, but it does. It makes it for glassing, or if you're climbing up a hill or something like that, it makes it actually pretty simple. And the other thing that I really like about it is the quick detach.
Yeah, because, quick disconnect.
I travel with my bow pretty much everywhere I go. And, when you got a typical one in there. You're spin. About 2 hours later, when you're finally spin the damn thing off, on the quick detach that you guys have, it's like one twist, pull it up, take it off, slip it back on, crank it down one time, and it's right back to the exact same thing as it was before. And I was like, wow, that was something that just for a newbie, which not new to archery, of course, but for using the product, I was just like, wow, that's neat. That is just really a neat little design that you came up with that was just killer. So
yeah, being able to extend that and, like you were saying, hiking with it. I know a lot of guys and myself, you're hiking, going out elk hunting or blacktailing, what we're doing in backcountry or whatever you're doing. You're hiking all day, your hands are constantly hanging, you're constantly holding on to things. It's cold, it's hot, sometimes my hands get tired, sometimes they get numb depending on what I got going on. It's nice to be able to reach up and hold on to that stabilizer. It's almost like, when you're in a bus or something, like, you reach up, or you're in a car and you hold on to the, grab handle just for, and it's just comfortable. It's something to grab onto. Same thing when I'm out hiking, just in that stabilizer. I can tuck that underneath a bino harness strap or underneath my backpack strap, and it's definitely not going anywhere. And then I can go hands-free if I'm going to go up a chute, and I got to hike and use my hands. It's nice. I don't have to worry about my bow falling off or, using my bow handle or using my bow for a crutch going up the hill, which we've used the stabilizer for a crutch for that, though.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, it's essentially a monopod is what it can turn into. And with just basically a half click of a turn, that barrel pops out of that quick disconnect, and you've got it for, like I say, if you're traveling, you need to pop it off. If you need to use it for a glassing platform, or I've just as simple as set my bow string down, and I've actually popped it up and used it real quick to glass off of the weight. So it's pretty compact and simple to do that. Yeah, really nice. It's definitely one of those things out there, and they, when you go along, through the industry, and you're looking at different stabilizers and stuff, and then you do the price point matches and stuff. This that stabilizer for what it does, it's almost like a common phrase we were saying this weekend. It's a no-brainer. Yeah, it literally is. That stabilizer for hunting, with what it features, it is a no-brainer. What it's able to do. I mean, theoretically, I don't even know if I could put a price point on it that's even close to what it retails for, sure. Or the true value of it.
What you actually get out of it. Yeah, the value at the the end result. So
well, we're at the Hunt Expo, right? And you're walking around. There's so many products. There's so many things you can look at. And at the end of the day, there's not a single product other than this stabilizer that will create a greater efficiency for your shooting. Yeah. When it comes to archery, it's just not one of them.
Right, for the price point of what you're getting and the amount of value out of it, there's probably nothing.
Yeah, you can
nothing
take
at that expo.
Yeah, you can take your older bows. You can they're all throwing arrows down range, but being able to truly stabilize your system and get it to shoot to you, not just a stabilizer. Oh, I got a 10-inch stabilizer or something else, or 8-inch. And I'm not knocking stabilizer. That's not what this podcast is about. It's about finding value in things that are out there that a lot of people don't know about. And that's what, one of the cool things about podcasts is it puts out information about, cool things and cool topics. And yeah.
Well, a RASTA site's not going to do that. I mean, that's going to get you to the end result, but truly getting stabilization in your bow, that's where your stabilizer comes from. And
accurate shots, right?
Yep.
I mean, that's where we all shoot bow. If you haven't wounded an animal with a bow yet, it's coming. I hate to break the bad news to you, but the reality is that it's all about your equipment. I mean, we all look at everything and we're all saving weight on this and your new broadhead that and got to get the new latest greatest bow. But if you can't hold that thing on target, it don't matter. Or if nowadays, I mean, some bows have gotten so stinking light and so small that, I remember back in the 80s, the bow that I started out with, hell, it was almost as long as I was. I mean, it was monstrous, But guess what? Big, long, heavy bows, geez,
that's a thing of the past now.
They shot great, though, But,
and part of the reason why they shot great is because those big, long, heavy bows had, larger brace heights.
Yep.
They were heavier, so going back to the acquiring the target, it was harder to get on target.
Absorb a lot of that energy.
Harder to get off target, which is that's the thing that's
Same
important.
Scenario.
Yeah. So It's all give and take in a lot of these bows and everything that's out there now. But this stabilizer is, out of all the products I've seen and played with, and I've definitely messed with a lot of them, this is definitely a game changer for sure.
If you could slow down the pin chasing, it's money.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and that's just going back to that same old thing. I mean, we're all talking about old bows, new bows, and all that stuff. But in the end, look at the Olympic shooters, right? I mean, the people that are shooting in the Olympics, they're not shooting an 8-inch stabilizer,
right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, now hunters, we can't drag around a 3-foot stick out into that, but you can run one of these, and if you get into that situation where you need that precise shot, you have all the technology with 2 twists and 2 tightens to stick that thing out there quite a distance. And man, oh man, if you could slow that pin down from moving, like you said, and then if you need to go after the animal, you break it back down and make it smaller, and then you cut through the brush like we all do.
Yep.
So
cool. So something else that's kind of unique about this platform is the fact that there's actually a system where you can actually connect your binoculars and use it as a viewing platform. And Micah, you're been instrumental behind that and kind of the system there.
Yeah. So not only is this the only fully adjustable stabilizer on the market for hunting or target, there's basically a platform system out there. We call it the R.I.S, and it stands for Rapid Image Stabilization. I'll get into that in a second. But what happened was I was on a blacktail hunt a few years back. It was raining on me really hard. I was pretty tired, and I was glassing down this canyon. I'm like Lucas, we're in California. I'm hunting Northern California. It's really is big country up there. And I'm looking down this canyon, and there's deer down there, and they're pretty far down there, and I'm just deciding whether or not I want to make a go at them. And I had my stabilizer, that 1233 stabilizer on there, and I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to go. My hands are shaking, it's cold, it's raining, and I have my glass like normal, kind of on my knees, off my knees, on my bino harness, looking up, looking down. And I thought to myself, wait, I have a stabilizer in my bow, and I can move it. So why not try to get my binoculars up on top of that stabilizer? Well, just so happened right next to me, obviously, you're hunting that country. Northern California gets really hot. We got a lot of pines, and there was a piece of bark kind of in a half horseshoe shape, and I reached over, grabbed that, took out my pocket knife, and poked a hole in it, set that up on top of the 5/16 thread on the end of the stabilizer, threw my binos up there, got it close to my face, and once my binos touched my eyes, I realized that image stopped bouncing around for a second, and I said, wow, this is actually pretty amazing.
Wait a second. So he's saying you don't have to buy the gadget, you just need a pice of bark.
Yeah, that's it.
Got a hole in it.
See?
Bark and a pocket knife. You're good.
Being resourceful. So, yeah, I realized that the industry, one, was missing out on this stabilizer, but two, there was a piece that was kind of missing to the puzzle for the backcountry bow hunter. And that night in my tent, I kind of, raining, lamp on, a flashlight or whatever, and I'm going over, kind of thought process of how can I make this work? And I actually came up with the rough designs for our Crossview platform. And like a couple days later, got back from the hunt. I took a nice buck that year, and got back from the hunt and talked to Amos and Rod. Did a FaceTime video with them and said, "Hey, I think I have the piece of the puzzle that's missing that'll bridge the gap in backcountry." And pitched it to them and said, "Hey, look, here's a platform idea." Both of them turned to each other. It was like a light bulb went off, kind of like the guys that come by the booth. They see the stabilizer, and then they see this platform on there, and they see us playing with it, and the light bulb goes off, and they say, "Oh, my God, this bow stabilizer just turned into a monopod that you can glass off of." And then not only that, down the road, you can take it off your bow when you're done with bow season. You still use it for glassing during rifle season, shoot a rifle off the top of it. So it truly is a multifunctional piece in the backcountry. And for me, finding things that are functional in the backcountry and finding things that are lightweight and have multiple uses, I mean, it's like the quote today, no-brainer.
No-brainer.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that. We had so many guys today just go, why didn't somebody do this sooner? This is so simple.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Why are you guys tucked back here in the corner of this booth? You guys should be in the middle of this thing.
You should be in the center.
Middle of this thing, cranking these things.
Coolest thing I've seen at the show. We hear it all day long.
Yeah, I think I had told Lucas, a guy came by last year, and he said, an older gentleman, he said, I've been going to this Western Hunt Expo since it opened, and I've been here for 3 days now, and this is the last day of this show, and this is the coolest thing I've seen and out of any time I've ever been to the show. So and we got a lot of that today. A lot of guys today saying, "Dude, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen."
Well, and you pegged it too. As a backcountry hunter, what are you looking for? You're looking for things that can save you weight, so you don't have to pack another thing with you because, okay, we're already packing too much crap, and then when you kill something, then you're really in for it.
Right.
So, a lot of guys are either carrying trekking sticks or they're carrying a monopod to walk with, or so this does eliminate one of those steps and adds in something that you're going to need on your bow anyway, right?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. They're talking about like functionality and stuff. Lucas and I are obviously tied in pretty close with First Light and do a lot of stuff with First Light and those fabulous people over there. But I was talking to Ford today when I stopped by the booth, and him and I were kind of just joking around in the morning. And he said, "Yeah, I got to get this, the new tent, the new Nemo combo tent with First Light." And I said, "Yeah, we could just take our bow stabilizers off and use those to stretch out to 33 inches. So you and your two buddies now, you don't have to have your trekking poles to hold up your tent. Just use your bow stabilizers, and when you're done, you leave camp. Most of the top of the tents are waterproof. Yank out your bow stabilizers, hook them on, and one or two clicks, like Jason said, and away you go. And there you go. Your bow stabilizer is now a tent stake. Let alone a guy last year came to the booth when we were under the Elk Addicts banner there, and he walked his way back there, and he said, I got one of these systems, and he's like, I actually used it for 2.5 miles, walked out on a sprained ankle, and used my hand on the platform and used your guys' stabilizer. Like, not that I'm recommending people do that, but yeah,
when you're in the backcountry and you need to do something, you do what you got to do.
Yeah, imagine if you needed to use that for like a splint, or it's just endless what that stabilizer can do. And like you were saying earlier, it's 7.4 ounces for that 12-inch stabilizer. It's literally, the sky's the limit of the things you can do with that thing.
Yeah.
Well, you're leveraging the concept of leverage. See what I did there?
Oh, snappy. Look at that. We'll bleep that out. That was just too much.
Yeah. You have a bee stinger, 8 to 12 inches or whatever. What's that entire thing weigh, right, in comparison?
Most of them are a pound or more. A lot of those bee stings are, they're...
You can put up 1 ounce, 2 ounces, 3 ounces, whatever you want. And when you want more stabilization, all you're doing is moving that out. You're not increasing the weight. And so for all the backcountry guys that, they're counting every ounce.
They're counting ounces.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
On that viewing platform, so basically what you have is basically a binocular case, or if you will, or a binocular holder with a strap on it. And then you've got a quick disconnect that goes into the actual barrel end of the stabilizer, and you essentially use that as your glassing platform, so you can set it between your legs, and you can adjust the height for your binoculars, so you can sit and basically sit and glass whatever you want with your binoculars, basically on a monopod system.
Correct. So going back to a little short story I want to share with you, when we came up with the prototype, it was a heavy little square job, but kind of in our design, the weld-out design and what we had going on, I took it to one of the spots Brandon knows we like to chase elk at, and I'm glassing down this canyon, down this water drainage that goes down the bottom, goes out one of the units where we hunt, and I had a cheap, and I took them on purpose, just a cheap pair of old Bushnell binoculars I've had bouncing around. My kid plays with them in the backyard. I cleaned them up, and I took them on purpose for this hunt and stored them, and I said, you know what, I'm leaving my good binos in camp, and I'm going to take these on purpose, and didn't tell my brother, by the way. We get back there, and we're glassing down this canyon, and I had told him, I said, hey, I had this platform idea, to kind of use this stabilizer. And he's like, oh, man, that's super cool. That's way cool. So we start glassing. And I'm not going to name any optic names, but he was using a really good set of optics, glassing down the bottom. And I throw my binos up on the platform that's attached to the end of the stabilizer, which is off the bow. And I'm glassing, and my brother's like, yeah, there's some elk out off that bluff. And I'm thinking to myself, It's dark timber all the way down. There's one bluff, and that's like a mile something down there. And I'm looking, and I look back at him. I said, "There's no elk over there." And he said, "Yeah, there's elk down there." So I look again. I said, You're talking about that bluff?" So I take the binos away, and I point, and he said, "Yeah, that one." Well, there's rocks down there, brown rocks, about 4 or 5 of them. But because he couldn't stabilize his binocular image, even on his knees or however he had it, he's like, they're moving, they're in the shape of elk. Those are elk.
He's moving.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the answer.
And that's exactly what it was. So I had him, I said, "Here, lower your binoculars." And I gave him, same thing, the low end binoculars on that platform. I just handed it over to him, and he looked through it, and he literally looked over at me, and he's like, "Oh my God." I said, "Let's take my binoculars out, the cheapies, and put your good ones on there." He put his on there and was looking, and I mean, we were picking stuff apart at very long distances because you're able to stabilize that image. But what it also does is also, mind you, 35 mile an hour winds coming up this canyon, so it was cranking, middle of the day, like, a lot of elk season. That's what happens. You get those those thermal switch, and they crank uphill during the day. And so we're looking down there, and with his binoculars, and yeah, like I said, it was amazing. So we started playing with it, and once you set that stabilizer on the ground and you're seated and you grab that stabilizer, the bar, tuck those eye cups into your eyes, it is amazing. I would venture to say that I could probably outglass most people with a freestanding tripod in winds once they get up high, because those winds aren't going to move a 200-pound guy with a backpack, or even a 150-pound woman out there glassing. It's not going to move. So you're in the rain, like that blacktail hunt. I was picking stuff out, and sure enough, one of those blacktail down at the bottom of that canyon was a buck. So, yeah.
Cool.
No, it's a really cool platform. I mean, it's light, it's compact. Like you say, if you're talking about ounces and pounds, if you're trying to eliminate a tripod and tripod adapter, like I know Jason and I like to use those Leica tripod adapters, but if you're trying to go much lighter and keep the system simple, that's about as easy as it gets if you are putting binoculars on some type of glassing system.
Well, because just about every tripod is going to, even the lightest ones are going to be 3 to 4 pounds. Okay, let's get down to it. You're in the backcountry, 3 to 4 extra pounds. That's a chunk of water, or that's some extra food, or that's a whole day's rations. If you can get rid of that tripod and use that system, that gets you there for an extra day.
I think everybody here, obviously, we chew gum. Everyone has a pack of gum in their pocket at some point, or in their their car console. That platform weighs 1.13 ounces. So that platform weighs as much as a pack of gum. So with that extra weight, you can now stabilize your image in the backcountry running our stabilizers. That's how light it is.
Wow.
Yep.
Pretty sweet.
So you add the quick disconnects, and I've timed it and not done it for a race or anything like that, but I could legitly go from walking to stopping, unhooking my stabilizer off my bow with a quick disconnect system into that platform, seated, binos out of everyone has their own marsupial or Alaska Guide Creations or FHF or whatever you run. I can get my binos out of my Alaska Guide Creations pack onto that platform with our quick buckle strapped down in about 25 seconds. I'm glassing if it's something I don't like, unhook it. The platform I throw it in my pocket, but the stabilizer hooks back in. Another 25 seconds I'm walking. So in under a minute, I can go from fully glassing back up and walking again. There's no system in the world that's that fast or that light.
Cool.
Pretty sweet. Yeah.
Boys and toys.
Well, we all shoot them, so we all believe by it. We all swear by it, and we've been getting a lot of people hooked on them too. I know I've hooked up a lot of folks that have obviously seen them and asked about it and got them set up, and clearly it has tightened their groups as well over time, just shooting this system.
Yeah, and I think, obviously Amos and Brodie have expressed, how grateful they are for, guys like us, doing grassroots stuff. But it's easy. It's like anything else, it's easy when you commit and you fully believe in something. Yeah. It's easy to do.
And when it works, it's easy to use it. It's easy to talk about it. It's easy to promote it because it does work, and the system works really well.
And once again, I just giggle because I still remember getting beat in the 80s by a lady that had a stick out the end of her bow that was like 12 foot long. Okay, it was probably only 2 or 3 foot, but when you get your head handed to you. You're thinking, man, I'm like, that's not fair. That's not fair, you know? Well, guess what? When you're wanting to shoot and be professional and do it as good as you can, you got to have every advantage that you could get. And this is a new advantage that for those people that are out there listening to this going, well, I shoot bow a lot. You got to look them up. Look up, what's the web address?
Yeah, it's crossroadarchery.com or hello@Crossroad Archery. And, Amos, get a hold of Amos or Rod or, I'm on Facebook or whatever. Shoot me any information you want. Micah Brown. Feel free to give me a call, 916-342-3400. I'll answer any of your questions. Retailers, the shops and stuff that we set up, if you're a dealer or know a dealer and you guys don't have these in your bow shop yet, you probably should get them, especially if you're out west and you backcountry hunt.
The cool thing now is at least some of the things we're seeing now is they're starting to put color combinations with the weights, and also on the knuckles now you're starting to see color combinations. So that's kind of a cool little customization option that they're providing now.
Yeah, you can get the knuckles going extra weights, and they're anodized, so they're tough. That you don't have a sheen to them, and yep.
Life's too short to hunt with an ugly weapon. Sorry,
right?
Couldn't help myself.
Yeah.
So all color customized and color coded. And
oh, Lucas, you're just a pimp. Yeah. Come on, we know it. You and your red.
Elk can see red, but they can also can't see the arrow coming at them when there's red pouring out the side of their chest either. So
or they can't see it coming because they don't know you're there, because this stabilizer is giving you the ability to shoot them from farther distances.
That's the thing. That's the beauty. I mean, clearly if you can get into 30, 40 yards, that's where you want to be. But if you don't have that option and you got to make a 70, 80-yard shot, and they may not even know you're there, this enables you to make that shot.
Yeah, and so sometimes, you're in those tight quarters, you're pressed and you don't think you have time when, for the most of us, you rewind the clock, you had more time than you did. Well, out to the distance like that, you actually can sit down and go through the archery, the progression that you're used to, that hopefully you started before you started a while ago and got accustomed to where you can make effective shots. So,
killer.
Cool, guys.
Yeah.
What else? Anything else?
No. You got anything, Brandon?
Yeah, I was just going to say, the one thing I was super, super impressed by Amos and Rod is they offer a lifetime warranty. And these things are just super durable, and they stand by their product. And
American made, right?
Yep.
We've had them, and we've ran them through. I mean, just endless summers, heat. Lucas and I were,
I took mine to Alaska and Kodiak, which was salt water, and there was obviously some wear on it when I came back from that, but I mean, overall, that thing still extends out and telescopes and comes back no problem.
Pop the nodes out and just there's clips inside there. Just slide the clips out. You can actually clean it. Just make sure there's little notches in the clips. They go on the stabilizer rod that you slid out. Slide it back in to the nodes and then tighten the node back up so you can actually put a little bit of grease or something. I know I like to use. It sounds funky, but canola oil. Once canola oil dries, there's no scent, and it leaves a film on there that actually you can use in the backcountry. So stuff like that really works. And they're just, Brandon said, they're durable, they're strong, and you couldn't ask for a couple better guys running a company. They're good at getting back to you, and they'll take care of whatever you need taken care of.
Yeah, and there's, like I say, there's some guys shooting them now that, there's some pretty big names in the market, people that are shooting these, and I think as they continue to hopefully market a little better, they've got, they're starting to get their social media, outlets out there, that this will continue to grow and turn into a, who knows what kind of project, right? Right now they're only doing stabilizers, and that's one thing I talked to Amos about. I said, man, just be the best in stabilizers, There's no reason to go out and start building rests and sites because, it's, if you spread yourself so thin, you're never going to be great at one thing. And I think they're figuring it out that they've got this system, they got a great system there. Just continue to build on it.
Yeah. Yep. And then, it's like, we in the first light podcast, it's a go farther, stay longer. This one's take a turn for the better. Crossroad Archery, man.
Yep.
Take a turn for the better.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Cool.
Well, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys having Brandon and I on the podcast. It's always a pleasure. I love hanging out with you guys. It's always a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the steaks weren't bad either.
Nope.
They didn't suck.
Even though when the hunting sucks, usually the food's pretty good. The food's pretty good tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, cool. So one more day or 2 more days of the show for you guys.
Yep, 2 more days. I think Brandon's going to head out tomorrow morning. So I think, we got a couple other buddies that same thing. Easy for them to talk about it because they believe in the system. So one of them's going to pop by the booth and hang out. So yeah, it's going to be cool. 2 more days, and I don't mind doing it because it's fun. I love it. I love people, and I love the product, and I believe in it. Yeah,
man, the energy when people walk by, like you said earlier, when the light switch is on, it's just fun, man. You get to talk to people who love what you do, and it's a blast. So.
No doubt about that. No doubt about that.
Yeah, so crossroadarchery.com. You can go on there and you can buy any of the systems, all 3 of the telescoping stabilizers, the R.I.S system. Yep. Like you have the quick disconnect, all the hardware, the back bars, all available on their website. So check them out.
Yep. The only thing all the knuckles. There's a bunch of new colors coming out with the knuckles and Amos. So whatever you can see what's on the website. The new stuff, the new colors will be coming out like early summer. So yeah.
Excellent.
Life's too short,
right?
To hunt with the ugly weapon.
Yeah, life's too short to shoot with the short stabilizer.
Hey, true. There's no doubt about that. If a person doesn't realize a longer stabilizer makes you a better shooter, then you haven't shot enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So you change and you add that into your game, or even if you go online and buy one of those old 3-foot stabilizers, put it on your bow. You're going to go, holy crap, I shoot twice as good now with that. Then you're going to have to buy one of these stabilizers because that's when you're going to figure it out.
Well, something important to recognize, too, is it doesn't even need to be 3 feet. The second you get over 12 inches, you feel the stabilization. I can take any guy and show him right on the spot and say, look, I can put this at 14 inches, and you're going to see a significant difference than at 8 or 9 or 10. As long as I keep pulling that thing out, you're going to feel that stabilize.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take a turn for the better. Stab it out, man.
Yeah. I hunt with mine about my arrow length when I'm hunting.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, guys.
Thanks, man.
Yep.
Appreciate
you
coming
Thank
on,
you.
and good luck at the show. And like I said, we'll keep grinding with these stabilizers and kind of see where it goes. And just excited to continue to get out in the field this year and shoot with it. 3D, you guys do 3D shoots, and obviously the hunting season's coming up, so looking forward to that.
Yep. Yeah, I can't wait. It's going to be a blast, and always looking forward to hanging out and get some more podcasts and stuff going. And
yeah, for sure.
Yep.
All right, Brandon, Micah, thanks for jumping on. Jason,
signing off
as usual.
Thank you, guys.
All right, guys.
Later.
Take care.
Have a good one, guys.
All right.
Take care.
Hey, everyone. This is Lucas Paw, host of the R&A Outdoors podcast. Please check out Podbean and iTunes. If you have an iPhone or iPad, go to the podcast app on your device, search for R&A Outdoors, and hit the purple subscribe button. When doing this, it will automatically upload when new podcasts are loaded, and they will download into your queue. For Android users, you can access the podcast through Podbean, Stitcher, or use our website, www.rnaoutdoors.com/podcast. In addition, under the R&A Outdoors podcast channel, please leave a review and a 5-star rating. These reviews help boost our popularity and outreach. You can also follow us on our social media outlets, Twitter at R&A Outdoors, Facebook, R&A Outdoors, and Instagram, Rod and Arrow Outdoors. All links are in the show notes as well. If you like what you've heard, we hope you'll pass along our channel to your friends and colleagues. Keep up the good fight. We cannot sit by and watch the public lands devoted to wildlife protection wither away. There's simply too much at stake. Make your voice heard, speak up, and get involved with conservation efforts, and know that every little bit helps. As we say on the mountain, go farther, stay longer.
Yeah.
It's like we go order our drinks at the bar. Well, it's not a bar, it's a restaurant. They're like, you guys are going to order food, right? I'm like, yeah, well, we just got to ask. It's Utah. I'm like, God forbid I have a beer and I don't eat something.
Yeah. Let alone you have one beer on the table and
you can't put another one in front of you.
Heaven forbid.
Can't believe you guys actually drink 2 beers at a time. What the hell?
You California people.
Double fisters.
Little edgy. Little.
Speaking of fisters, I mean double.
LP, kick us off. Hey, the center is right there, big guy. Have you been watching the skating that's going on downstairs? It's
No,
snowing.
I haven't. Is Nancy Kerrigan down there?
Am I going to get Tanya Harding down in the middle of nowhere?
Oh man, you guys on your walk
get
home? I'm not.
buckled in
Oh
the
no,
back of
that's
the
right.
leg?
That's right. You guys are taking an Uber ride for the six seconds that it's going to take you to
Hey,
get
if
there.
only she had a crossover stabilizer to whack her in the knee with, things would have turned out
I'll
different.
give her a crossover stabilizer.
The
whacker in the knee.
telescoping one.
Yeah. Cross her head.
Would you like it 6 inches or 12?
Yeah.
How about 33?
Oh, man, I'm telling you, it
Fully
goes
Let the big
long.
dog hunt.
Yeah, that's not
Fully
that was not
extendable.
playing. Remember back in 2019, someone mentioned something about a Krakow?
Was that at True Value? It was at True Value that there was crack hose at True
Ace,
Value.
yeah, Ace has no idea
Ace
what
is a
they
place
have.
for hardware parts or something like that.
Helpful handyman? No.
Something about hardware.
Where's Joe when you need her?
Jeez. Was that Uber or Uber?
You were the.
Should we like turn this off and go, okay, and in 3, 2.
Well, at some point we'll get serious. I'm just waiting when.
Yeah.
I'm ready. You're
I don't
supposed
know, man.
to
I
kick
can't stop thinking about probiotics.
LP's probiotic serum.
You got to get a clean gut, and there's only one way to do
only
that.
one way.
Have Jill,
One way, dude.
Jill come
Jill.
over and pound you out.
Oh, jeez.
Tickle that belly button.
No, that is horrible.
It is. I
Yes.
can't believe we would say that. Something like that.
Yeah.
It's like getting a banana in the tailpipe.
Too much back pressure.
All right.
Too much back pressure.